Thank you very much.
How are you feeling this fight week?
Feeling great.
You haven't been hit by a car or anything on the way here?
Not yet.
So I want to ask a little bit about that first. You had that crazy win after that injury. How do you kind of get in your right mind to fight after that?
It was a very specific situation for me, for my whole team. Obviously, we've never have to overcome something like that before. And yeah, so even before the contract has arrived, when I was recovering and everything, I knew I had to stay, in shape, so to say. So I only could do some weights and stuff, but that was pretty much it, from seated position, and that's it. So that's the only thing I did until the wound closed up, and even then I had to be pretty much cautious all the time during my trainings and everything. So it was very low intensity training. I think I sparred maybe 2 or 3 weeks before the fight for the first time, like where we pushed the tempo just a little bit, and couldn't have really wrestled, couldn't have kicked with that leg. Also, I couldn't kick with the other leg because I'm standing on the one that was injured. So it was very, very difficult camp for me, for my coaches, and I did have a little question in my mind, can I do it? But I knew I had to. So also coming to the fight, we come here, we start the warm-up. It was like 10 or 15 minutes before the fight, and I tried to hit some pads with my coach, and my injured foot, ankle, just pops out and starts to swell. So that was also a big, it pissed me off moment, I was really like, is this possible, What else can go wrong? So yeah, getting a W for that fight, that was a great feeling, very, very good feeling.
So how do you top that? Because I would imagine nothing could stop you at this point. You know that you've faced pretty much everything that you could face. How do you top that feeling?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I want to try to top that. I don't know. Every fight is like separate thing on its own for me, I take pride and enjoy of every W. Also, the losses, I take them for what they are. I don't really let it push me down, I try to learn from them, as I do try to learn from my victory as well, so I can be better next time.
Did you learn anything in that fight camp that you had to change everything about maybe going forward, how you could do a different fight camp? Or are you back to the way it was before?
You mean the one when I was injured?
Correct.
Yeah, I guess I learned that, you're a lot tougher than you think, than we all think we are. And, if you would ask me now for some later part of the year, would you accept a fight after being hit by a car? I would say no. But now, when I experienced that and managed to pull it off, I definitely, as I said, I think we are all a lot tougher than we give ourselves the credit.
So what did you think when you got the name of your opponent?
Like I said, I knew when I was in rehabilitation phase, I had a feeling, in my gut that the contract would come. So my manager sent me a message, and I'm like, okay, that's it. And yeah, I talked with my coach, so we knew it will not be a normal camp like we had before, So yeah, we just try to do our best. Everything that I can do on my end, we just try to do it. Rehabilitation-wise, to heal up the injury as fast as possible, and also to prepare for the fight, So it was, even for conditioning part, I couldn't have do much things in preparation for that fight. I couldn't run really long because, my foot was still crushed. The soft tissues were all still inflamed. How to say? Sorry, my brain stopped working. But the soft tissues in my foot, they were still hurting a lot, and my foot was unstable at the time. So everything, from strength and conditioning to tactical training, technical sparrings, everything was like majorly different than what I do when I'm healthy, as you would imagine. So yeah, it was a big learning experience for me, for my coaches, but I'm just glad we managed to overcome that and get to that W, which was pretty important for me, obviously coming off 2-loss streaks. So last fight on the contract, I knew it was sort of big. It had a lot of weight, that fight, for me, you know. So yeah, I'm really glad we managed to get a W.
Would you say that you're going into this fight 100%?
Yeah, most definitely. Compared to that fight, I'm like 1,000,000%.
What kind of a fight do you predict this time around?
I also think it's going to be a very tough fight. Obviously, I'm healthier now, but my opponent is pretty dangerous striker. Also on the ground, he's a black belt, so you know it's a pretty interesting matchup for the fight fans, I would believe, because I do mostly striking in my fights. He prefers striking as well. He's a big, tall guy, good movements, explosive, fast. So I definitely think fight fans are in for a treat for this fight.
Do you pay attention to the odds at all? It looks like you're an underdog. Does that kind of give you an extra push? Do you care about that?
I really don't beat myself over that. You know, I don't lose any sleep over it. You know, I was an underdog before, you know, many times, and I managed to beat the odds. I was a favorite in like a couple of fights I lost. So yeah, I don't really give much attention to that, you know. It's just the bookies, you know, what do they know?
Do you ever put money on yourself when you're the underdog?
No, really. I never really betted on myself, and every single time I put a bet, I did a couple of times, on some fight, everything turned out completely differently, so I'm not doing anything like that.
Do you think of it a little bit as a jinx? You specifically say, I don't want to bet on myself because I might jinx myself? Or is it
I don't think it's a jinx. I just think I'm really bad at betting.
Thank you so much.
Not that much of a gambler.
Hey, Dusko.
Hey, man.
I saw that you got some work in with your former opponent, Michel Pereira, last night.
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, we remained in good contact, you know, even after my last fight against Pitolo in December, we went to dinner all together, you know, Michel, his wife, my manager, coaches, and me. We all went to dinner and, you know, had a good time. And yeah, we kept in touch after that, you know, we're in good relations, so yeah.
It's awesome. Who gave you your nickname Thunder?
Basically, some friends, after I, you know, got the W, and, you know, you need to be marketable, you know, to be in UFC. You know, it's a money business after all. So a couple of friends, they're like, you need to get a nickname, blah, blah, blah. In that time, I didn't like the idea that much, because honestly, I didn't have a clue what to pick, you know, how to pick. So we did some like Instagram questioning on the stories, and you know, pick a nickname or just vote what would you like, or something like that. I don't remember really well right now, but somehow we ended up with the Thunder, you know. It starts the same letter as my last name. The song that I go into the ring is Thunderstruck by AC/DC. Also, I think first gi that I bought, you know, that I really bought, you know, for myself, I picked it out like in December or a couple months ago. When I put it on, when I open it, on the inside, it's just labeled Thunder, Thunder, Thunder. So yeah, that's a funny coincidence, I guess. And yeah, I think it suits me. Suits my fight style. It has a nice ring to it, you know.
For sure. And finally, for me, I know that you were in school working on your thesis. I was just wondering if you got that done yet.
Yeah, it's all done.
It's all done?
Yeah.
How was that?
I'm just glad it's, you know, off the table. I don't have to think of it no more.
How long did it? How long how many pages was your thesis?
I think 40.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All good?